Hi, I'm Maya. Before my world collapsed around me, I was just a regular kid with a single mom who loved me. We weren't rich, but we were happy in our little two-bedroom apartment. Mom worked double shifts at the diner to keep us afloat after Dad died when I was 10. For 4 years, it was just us against the world. Then Mom met Richard at some company party she was catering. Within 6 months, they were married, and we moved into his fancy house in the suburbs. That's when everything changed. "This is my son, Trevor. He's 17 and the quarterback at Jefferson High," Richard announced proudly on our first day in the new house, his hand on Trevor's shoulder like he was showcasing a prized possession. Trevor barely looked up from his phone. "Whatever. Which room is mine again?" "The master bedroom on the second floor, son. Maya and her mother will be in the rooms down the hall." I noticed how Mom didn't correct him, didn't mention that she had a name beyond Maya's mother. That first week, I caught Trevor going through my things while I was at school. When I confronted him, he just smirked. "It's my house. Everything in it belongs to me, including your stuff. Better get used to it, stepsis." When I told Mom, she just sighed. "Don't make waves, Maya. Richard has given us a beautiful home. We need to be grateful." Grateful. That became her favorite word. It started small. Trevor would snap his fingers at me during dinner. "Get me some more juice." Then it escalated to, "My room's a mess. Clean it up before I get home from practice." "I'm not your maid," I said the first few times. That's when Richard would step in. "In this house, we all contribute. Trevor has important athletic commitments. Your contributions look different." Mom would nod along, eyes down, picking at her food. One night, I overheard them in their bedroom. "She needs to learn respect, Ellen. Your daughter has an attitude problem." "She's adjusting, Richard. She'll come around." "She better, or I'll have to teach her some manners myself." By the 3-month mark, Trevor didn't even pretend to be nice anymore. "Hey, servant girl, I'm hungry," he'd yell from the living room where he was playing video games. That particular night, I'd just finished my homework and was exhausted. "Make it yourself, Trevor. I'm not your servant." I heard the game pause. "Dad, Maya's being a bitch again." Richard appeared in the kitchen doorway where I was getting myself a glass of water. Mom was right behind him, wringing her hands. "Maya, please just make him a sandwich," Mom pleaded. "No, I'm not his slave." Richard's face turned that dangerous shade of purple I'd come to recognize. "What did you say, young lady?" "I said no. He has 2 hands. He can make his own dinner." Richard turned to Mom. "Ellen, is this how you raised your daughter? To disrespect her family?" "Maya, please," Mom whispered. "He's not my family," I said, the words tumbling out before I could stop them. The silence that followed was deafening. Richard slowly unbuckled his belt, sliding it from the loops with a soft hiss. "I think it's time you learned some respect." I backed away as Richard approached, belt dangling from his hand. My back hit the kitchen counter. "You don't touch her," Mom said weakly, stepping forward. Richard turned to her with a look that made her shrink back. "If you can't discipline your daughter, Ellen, then I will." And then it happened. The belt came down across my arm as I raised it to protect my face. The sting was immediate, burning like fire. "Stop!" I screamed. "You'll learn respect in this house!" Another swing, this time catching my leg. I looked at Mom, pleading with my eyes. For a moment, I thought she'd help me. Instead, she grabbed my arm, holding me in place. "This is for your own good, Maya. You need to listen to Richard." The betrayal hurt worse than the belt. My own mother, holding me down while this man beat me. 6 more lashes across my back and legs before they finally stopped. "Now go make your brother his dinner," Richard commanded, buckling his belt. I did as I was told, tears streaming silently down my face. That night, locked in my room, I examined the welts in my mirror. Purple lines crisscrossed my back and thighs. I took pictures with my old phone, the one Richard didn't know about. For 3 days, I moved around the house like a ghost, planning my escape. I counted the money in my ceramic piggy bank, $43.27 saved from birthday cards and odd jobs. I would take just $1 so they couldn't accuse me of stealing. "You've been quiet lately," Mom noted as I picked at my dinner on the 3rd night. "I'm glad you're finally learning." Yes, I'm learning a lot, I whispered. That night, I waited until 2 a.m. I packed one backpack with essentials, some clothes, my hidden phone, and a photo of my real dad. I took the single-dollar bill and left the rest in the piggy bank with a note. This is all I owe you. The night air felt like freedom as I walked 5 miles to Zoe's house. I hadn't told her I was coming. I tapped gently on her window. Maya? What the hell? Zoe whispered, sliding her window open. It's the middle of the night. I need a place to stay, just for a few days. In the light of her bedroom, Zoe gasped at the fading bruises. Who did this to you? Richard, and Mom helped him. Zoe's parents let me stay for 2 weeks, but I could tell they were nervous about harboring a minor. I needed to find something more permanent. My uncle owns a cafe downtown, Zoe told me. He might hire you under the table. That's how I met Marcus. 50-something, with kind eyes and a no-nonsense attitude. He took one look at my fading bruises and gave me a job washing dishes. I've got a studio apartment above the cafe. Previous tenant just moved out. It's yours if you want it. Rent comes out of your paycheck. Why would you help me? I asked, suspicious of kindness after everything. Someone helped me once when I needed it. Now I'm passing it on. Every night, I documented my injuries in a journal as they healed, wrote down every memory of abuse while it was still fresh. The journal became my evidence, my power. 1 month after I left, Mom came into the cafe. I ducked into the kitchen before she saw me. They're looking for you, Marcus told me later. What do you want to do? I looked at my journal, at the photos of my bruises, at the single-dollar bill I'd framed on my wall. I want to rebuild my life. And one day, I want justice. 5 years flew by like a dream. Marcus promoted me from dishwasher to server, then manager, and finally made me partner in his expanding cafe business. We'd opened 3 locations across the city, and I'd just finished my business degree online. Look at you now, Marcus said, clinking his coffee mug against mine in our original cafe. From that scared kid to a businesswoman with her own car and condo. I owe you everything. You owe me nothing. You built this yourself. That afternoon, Zoe burst through the cafe door, face flushed with urgency. They're looking for you again. Your mom's handing out flyers at the mall with your old photo. After 5 years? Why now? Zoe handed me a community newspaper. Check page 3. There it was, Richard standing next to the mayor at some charity gala. The caption read, Business owner Richard Thompson receives Community Leadership Award. He's running for city council, Zoe explained. Guess a missing stepdaughter doesn't fit his perfect family image. That night, I couldn't sleep. At dawn, I made a decision. I called Mrs. Patterson, our old neighbor who used to watch me sometimes when I was younger. Maya. My goodness, is that really you? It's me, Mrs. Patterson. I need to know, did you ever see anything unusual at our house? The silence stretched before she answered. I called child services twice. They never did anything. I heard the yelling, saw your bruises. I should have done more. Would you be willing to make a statement now? Over the next week, I gathered statements from 3 former neighbors, my old school counselor, and even Trevor's ex-girlfriend who had witnessed Richard's rage. I hired a private investigator who discovered Richard's construction company was nearly bankrupt from mismanagement and shady dealings. He's desperate for that council seat, the investigator told me. His business partners are pulling out, and he needs the connections. I needed more direct evidence. I reached out to Trevor through social media, suggesting a meeting. We met at a diner across town. He looked rough, unshaven, bloodshot eyes. I didn't think you'd actually show, he mumbled, not meeting my eyes. What happened to the golden boy quarterback? Failed out of college. Dad never let up with the pressure. He fidgeted with his coffee cup. I've been in and out of rehab. Is he still the same at home? Worse. Mom drinks now, hides the bruises with makeup. The recording device in my purse captured every word. Why'd you agree to meet me? I asked. He's running for office, talking about family values. It's all bullshit. Help me stop him. Trevor looked up, finally meeting my eyes. What do you need? 2 weeks later, everything was in place. I had statements, recordings, medical records, photos. Trevor had given me texts from Richard threatening him. I'd filed police reports. Local reporters were primed with anonymous tips about Richard's business dealings. I stood outside my old house, heart pounding. In my hand was an invitation to Richard's campaign launch party, courtesy of Trevor. In my pocket was a voice recorder. In my mind was a perfect plan for justice. Ready or not, I whispered, walking up the familiar steps one last time. I walked into Richard's campaign launch party with my head held high. The country club ballroom was packed with local business leaders and political wannabes. I spotted Mom immediately, standing beside Richard with a plastic smile that didn't reach her eyes. Trevor nodded slightly from across the room, our signal that the reporter was in position. I approached the happy couple just as Richard was mid-handshake with the mayor. Hello, Richard. Mom? Mom dropped her champagne glass, shattering it on the marble floor. Maya? Surprise! Mind if I say a few words to your guests? Richard grabbed my arm, his fingers digging in just like they used to. What the hell are you doing here? Taking back my power. I pulled away and tapped the microphone at the podium. Everyone, I have an announcement about our esteemed candidate. Security started moving toward me, but the reporter blocked their path with her camera crew. This is the man who beat me with a belt when I was 14 years old. I pulled out my phone and played the recording. Richard's voice filled the room. If you can't discipline your daughter, Ellen, then I will. The sounds of the belt and my screams silenced the crowd. I left home with $1 and these scars. I displayed the photos of my bruises on the projector screen, which Trevor had queued up. While Richard talks about family values, he's been abusing his wife and son for years. Richard lunged toward me. You ungrateful little... 2 police officers stepped forward. Richard Thompson, we have a warrant for your arrest for child endangerment and assault. As they handcuffed him, Mom rushed to me. Maya, please, you don't understand. We've been looking everywhere for you. Save it. I have the police reports Mrs. Patterson filed that you both convinced them to drop. The next morning, Richard's face was plastered across the local news. By afternoon, 3 of his business partners had publicly severed ties. By evening, the mayor had rescinded his endorsement. Trevor called me from rehab a week later. Dad's company is finished. Mom's staying with her sister. No one in town will talk to them. Are you okay? Getting there. Thanks for not throwing me under the bus, too. I deserved it. You were a kid too, Trevor. Just a different kind of victim. A month later, Richard pleaded guilty to reduced charges, 18 months in county jail. Marcus and I opened our 4th cafe location the same day. Mom tried to visit me at work. She placed a card on the counter. I'm sorry for everything. I slid it back without opening it. Apology not accepted. I'm still your mother. No, you stopped being my mother the day you held me down for him. I donated to the local women's shelter in Richard's name, a yearly contribution ensuring his shame would be permanent. The plaque reads, Donated by the survivors of Richard Thompson's abuse. Yesterday, I drove past our old house. It's for sale now, abandoned like the life I left behind. I don't look back anymore. The scared girl with $1 is gone. In her place stands a woman who built an empire from ashes and made sure her abusers burned in their own fire. What would you have done in Maya's position? Would you have exposed your abusers publicly like she did? Or would you have chosen to move on quietly with your life? Is revenge ever truly justified when someone has hurt you deeply? Or does it just continue the cycle of pain? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If this story resonated with you, please hit that like button and subscribe for more powerful stories about overcoming life's toughest challenges. Your engagement helps our channel grow and allows us to keep sharing these important stories.